More and more people believe they need some type of government program. Once they're in the system, many of them find it difficult or impossible to leave it. It's not right when the safety net turns into a trap, one that people cannot escape from. Trapping people in dependency isn't the goal of government assistance. And it isn't compassionate, not to the poor who deserve a better life, and not to middle-class workers who foot the bill. Instead, Congress should encourage the right type of tax reform and economic policy. This will encourage job creation in the country, so people have access to better opportunities and less chance of becoming dependent. College is expensive. And of course, we want to help students with their college tuition. But it seems like the more federal aid colleges and universities get, the more the prices go up. Too often, taxpayer funds intended to help students obtain higher education instead end up supporting an ever-growing bureaucracy of college administrators who, in turn, raise tuition in order to fund their own salaries and pet projects. We need to lift the curtain on the causes of tuition inflation and encourage colleges and universities to do a better job of controlling costs and directing resources to the education of their students. We need to have an honest conversation about the role of federal aid and tax incentives in driving up tuition prices. Instead of asking taxpayers to pay higher taxes to fund increased federal aid, students should be asking their college administrations, why are my tuition rates going up so much? The Skills Act cuts through the red tape so that workers can enter training programs and ultimately the workforce as quickly as possible. The Skills Act also eases the application process for community and technical colleges to be included in the list of eligible training providers. The role of local employers in the training process will be strengthened under this act. If workers are being trained in skills that nearby businesses actually need, they won't have to uproot their families to find a job. Much of the administration of the program will be handled at the state level, since the people and resources closest to a problem are the ones best equipped to deal with it. Government should work for us, not work us over. But this doesn't seem to be the case with federal bureaucracies. We need to protect Americans who are forced to deal with the IRS or other federal agencies. One proposed law would require federal employees to inform citizens of their rights before subjecting them to an audit or similar actions. They would have to let you know that you have the right to record meetings and phone conversations with federal agents and auditors. Agencies might be less likely to bully us or unfairly change the ground rules of the audit if they know every word is being recorded. Did you know you already have the right to be represented by an attorney when dealing with federal agencies? If you weren't aware of that, perhaps it would show concern for ordinary Americans if the government informed them of these and other rights at the beginning of an audit. It's not fair for the government to pick winners and losers in the marketplace, especially when our nation's leaders are picking their friends to be the winners. Government bureaucrats entrusted with public safety and money should be held to an especially high standard. Karen DeLoach is a bookkeeper from Montgomery, Alabama, who wants to use her overtime to take care of aging parents and sick family members. She recently testified before the House Committee on Education and the Workforce about the real-life consequences of the current inflexible law and in favor of the Working Families Flexibility Act. She said of the proposed legislation, quote, "I keep hearing the opposition to this is that employers are going to take advantage of employees. If I've said I want my overtime to be paid back to me in time rather than in money, then I'm making that choice." It's only right that our laws governing the workplace catch up to the realities of today's workers. Unsustainable expansion of an already broken system threatens Medicaid's ability to do what it was set up to do: serve the poor and the vulnerable. As President Obama says, poor children, grandparents, kids with autism and Down syndrome and other disabilities, quote, "These are the people who count on Medicaid." We need to reform Medicaid so they can continue to count on it. Because if we overwhelm the system, we're not able to provide help for anyone. We need to construct a Medicaid health system that delivers essential health services and better outcomes while responsibly managing costs.